Hello, welcome back to Fallout 76. The new season is nearly here. That seems to have caught people by surprise. But speaking for myself, I actually expected the new season to start last week, because that's what the calendar for the current season was saying. If anything, it seems that it was held back to coincide with the Xbox Games Showcase a few days ago. But just to be safe, assume that Season 18 will start in early September, like it says in the calendar. That's really the safest way. Anyway, since the new season is about to hit us, let's talk about some of the aspects of the season system that you should take into account in the new season, and the most effective way to share your thoughts about the season system with Bethesda. I counted the items on each page and classed them according to type. So you have the Fallout First specific plans and consumables, then the normal plans and consumables. Then I added the cost of the items on each page. On average, you pay 190 tickets per page if you get all the items. That's all the plans and consumables. You can save a few hundred tickets by not buying consumables. That translates to about 7 ranks per page, which is about how many ranks you need to unlock a new page. Basically, you get enough tickets to buy all items in a page before you unlock the next one. It seems that the devs deliberately fine-tuned things to make sure you won't be running out of tickets. That applies from rank 1 to 100, so during these levels, the new seasons play pretty much the same as the old scoreboards. But things change a lot once you reach the bonus pages. In the old scoreboard, rank 100 used to give you a bunch of rewards, much more than each of the previous ranks. It was meant to be a nice little reward for those who finish the scoreboard. The first bonus page in the new system plays a similar role, and gives you a lot of items. But now, you have to pay tickets to unlock them. And they're very expensive. If you add up the prices for all the items, that comes to 1250 tickets, which coincidentally is exactly 50 ranks. And guess what rank you have to reach to unlock the second bonus page? Yes, rank 150. Once again, this was deliberately designed this way. On average, it takes 5 ranks to get each item. But because you've now hit rank 100, you lose the score from experience. So you have to rely entirely on doing daily and weekly challenges. And ranks now need 3500 score per rank. That's 17,500 score per item. Without any boosters or Fallout First, doing all 6 daily challenges gives you 2500 score. The 8 weekly challenges give you 10,500 score. That gives you a total of 28,000 points per week if you do everything. It will take you a bit over 6 weeks to get all items from the first bonus page. The second bonus page has consumables that you can get over and over again. They cost 3 ranks each. But the gotcha is that you also have to have unlocked 95 items. I'll go into this in more depth later, but that means you'll need to have Fallout First to access the second bonus page at all. Most of the rewards aren't really worth getting via tickets, because you can get them by gold or by playing. The most desirable items are the score boosters. You can use them in future seasons to speed up your score. I recommend getting as many of those as possible if you get this far. Carry boosters are also good if you're often overloaded, but for anything else it's easier to get them by playing. So you can see that the cost of tickets and items was deliberately calculated to use the fear of missing out to encourage players to play longer. But fear of missing out can only go so far. At some point, if you set the cost too high, it actually ends up having the opposite effect, because people simply give up on getting those items. That's the problem with the 2 bonus pages. They just cost too much for the benefit. Up to rank 100, you can get items without worrying too much about the ticket cost, but the ticket cost shoots skywards once you try and get the bonus items. Players who already played past rank 100 with scoreboards will continue doing that, so there's no real difference for them. But casual players will end up being discouraged, because unless you actually plan beforehand, there's going to be long periods when you're just getting nothing. 6 weeks to get 10 items from the first bonus page is far too long. And the fact you need Fallout First to even access the second bonus page, plus the lackluster nature of the rewards, makes it difficult to see anyone deliberately aiming for the second page. Generally speaking, trying to get past rank 100 won't really be worth the effort for a casual player. And that's the opposite of what the season system should be trying to achieve. At the very least, a balancing of the ticket costs for the bonus pages, or a rebalancing of the progression is needed to keep those casual players on board. Another major change is that it's possible to spend 1,500 atoms to access Fallout First exclusive items. Before this, you needed to actually have a monthly Fallout First subscription. It's a positive that you can unlock those items, but it's a negative that you have to pay atoms. The scoreboard itself gives you 1,000 atoms, with a further 1,000 atoms available with Fallout First. So theoretically, you end up ahead by 500 atoms if you spend atoms to unlock the feature. You also get bonuses to score which add up to 25%. Basically, the calculation comes down to whether you know you're going to play regularly enough to get to the later pages. If you are, then it's worth unlocking the Fallout First access immediately. The score boost alone will mean that you get more ranks, and the extra atoms mean that you end up with more atoms than you started with. For a casual, in order to break even, you need to unlock at least page 11. After that, it's all free atoms. So if you think you can get that far, then it's worth it. Okay, so how should you approach the new season format? Firstly, avoid redeeming items until you near the end of the season. That way you know how many tickets you'll have. This is especially important if you want items in the bonus pages. Obviously there'll be some must-have items for every player, and there's nothing wrong with redeeming a few items. In this season, the new cremator weapon is a must-have in my opinion, but for things like costumes and skins, you should hold off. Secondly, focus on redeeming the most important item first. Everybody has different priorities, so what's important is different for everyone. But getting the most valuable items first makes sure that you won't run out of tickets. Thirdly, avoid getting any consumables unless there's nothing else to get. The obvious exceptions are the score boosts and atoms. They're always worth getting immediately. The things like gold, nuclear keycards, legendary cores, they're all obtainable by playing the game. Don't spend tickets on them until you're sure there's nothing else to get. Fourth, spend the atoms to unlock Fallout First items. But if, and only if, you're going to play enough to get to at least page 11. The extra score boost is worth it. Unfortunately, the need for tickets to unlock items, and how expensive the bonus items are, means that you need to save your tickets. There's no easy way to get more tickets, so you need to make sure that you don't run short at the end of the season. Personally, I think that the rank 100 issue is pretty big and needs to be addressed. So do the requirements to access the last bonus page, but rank 100 is something that far more people will encounter, so it's more important. Basically, it's a massive disincentive for casual players, and I think we're already seeing just how discouraged players have become. I've previously pointed out that Fallout First should remain as a convenient, but not essential, part of gameplay. But I have to admit that the way the season design is trending, it's not out of the question that Fallout First may well follow a similar route. That would be bad. But at the end of the day, me screaming into the void, especially with such a tiny channel, means squat all. I'm trying to be balanced in my points, while keeping in mind the realities of running an online service, but it's very easy to dismiss the points I'm making as the rantings of yet another YouTuber. Because unfortunately, there's far too many ranting YouTubers. I will continue to try and highlight things that are or are not working right, but that ranting YouTuber stereotype will always limit what YouTube videos can do to address issues. The same goes for complaining on Discord or Twitter. It's very easily dismissed because it's anonymous and unmeasurable. I know that it's becoming a bit of a practice to express unhappiness via Steam reviews, but this still has many of the same weaknesses as Discord, Twitter or YouTube. You can always dismiss them as angry people and not worth listening to, especially because there are so many people who fit this stereotype. In my opinion, by far the best method to give feedback that Bethesda can't dismiss out of hand is their ticketing system. That doesn't guarantee that they'll change the course, but the ticketing system has two major advantages. One is that you confirm that you're someone who plays the game, and you're putting a name to the feedback. I'm sure they can see your purchase history from the Atom Shop. It's even better if you're someone who's a Fallout First subscriber. And, if like some people have said, the changes to the season system is stopping them renewing their subscription or buying from the Atom Shop, then make sure to mention that. In other words, you're not just another ranting voice in the internet wilderness, you're a customer. The second major advantage is that tickets are measurable at a corporate level. You can't concretely measure how representative a YouTube video is. Maybe you can make an educated guess based on views or likes, but that's just a guess. Same with Discord and Twitter. At best you can say something along the lines of, there's lots of people saying similar things, but again, that's a guess. Even when there's a massive surge, like with the Helldiver 2 situation, that's not concrete feedback. You're still guessing about a lot of people. On the other hand, feedback through the ticketing system is concrete and measurable. Bethesda can look at the past history of feedback type tickets, then point out how much they've increased by, highlight that the increase in unhappiness is due to a specific issue, and moreover, that these are actual customers. Of course, you should also refrain from mass spamming tickets. Ideally, it should be a large number of individuals creating tickets, not a large number of tickets from individuals. And be specific in your criticism. Simply saying I'm not happy doesn't mean anything. Point out what specifically you dislike. For example, I dislike that it takes 6 weeks of challenges to get the items of rank 100. That's too much. And I dislike the requirements to access the last bonus page, especially the need to have unlocked 95 items. But I like that you can use 1500 atoms to unlock Fallout First items, while giving you 2000 atoms if you finish the scoreboard. That allows people to get items that were locked away behind the subscription, but if you play long enough, you get your items back. That rewards people who play more, which is exactly what a season system should be aiming for. You may or may not agree with my points, but I hope that gives you some idea of how to shape your own feedback. Obviously, you can still comment on Twitter and Reddit, but if you really want to make your voice heard, you should use the ticketing system. Anyway, I hope that the strategies I shared will help to prevent situations like I'm seeing now, with people finding themselves short on tickets at the end of the season and missing out on items they wanted to get. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Feel free to leave a like, subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when new videos come out. See you soon.